Hi guys, Tuber here with a new video, and this video will be a Armswire preview video for 11.1. I think it's one of the best specs in the game, like design wise. I think it just is like something they need to change maybe with the build variety. I think there's not a lot of variety towards Armswire. If you're playing Armswire, there's not really a lot of things that you can change to make it more fun. You pretty much play from A to Z the same class, spec, build, and way of play the game pretty much. I'm going to talk about the tier set. I'm going to talk about the talents that they changed. They didn't change too much. The philosophy, I'm going to talk about the philosophy they are changing towards warriors in general, but especially Arms Warrior. And I'm going to talk about obviously how it feels to play Arms Warrior right now on PTR. Balancing will still happen, like even ongoing. Like yesterday, we got like a 20% buff to more strike and overpower, for example. So they're still trying to change and see what is working, what is not working. They still try to see the numbers if it's correct or not. I think it would be nice to talk about the tier set first. So we have again a winning streak tier set, which is halved in PvP. So for example here you have 5%, it's going to become 2%, which is 2.5% pretty much. So everything is nerfed by 50% in PvP. It's a winning streak tier set, so it's for every melee DPS it's the same. You have a stacking buff for your spender or a rotational ability, and that rotational ability or spender has like a 50% chance, for example, to lose the winning streak or to end the winning streak. And you have then a 4 set which either starts with the winning streak or ends with the winning streak, or both. So for example, the 4 set, when your winning streak ends, you gain 2% haste and your more strike and cleave damage is increased by 2% per stack of winning streak you had for 12 seconds. So the idea is you're going to do a lot of overpowers. So every time you're going to do overpowers, you're going to get a stack which is stackable to 50%. In PvP it's 25%, which is quite big. The damage is going to be quite big for power. But whenever you're going to end your winning streak, the amount of stacks you have, for example, if you have 8 stacks, you're going to get 2% haste times 8, which is 16%, and you would have 2% extra damage on your more strike and cleave times 8, which is also 60%. So it's going to, all in all, give you a stacking buff. You're not going to think about it. You're not going to count the best amount of damage possible. What you could do is you're going to overpower, and whenever you're going, your winning streak is going to end, you're going to pop every single CD to get the biggest more strike ever. That is possible, but again, I think that's mostly depending on desire of wanting to do that. On the spec tree, or the class tree, I would say, there is like a change, which is the 200 weapon specialization. 6% for 2 points, but also less damage in AoE, so 4%. Is it going to be impressive? No, but you still need to have it if you want to have Thunderous Roar. Unfortunately, Champion Spear is still a 1.5 minute CD. If it was a 1 minute CD, it would be way more interesting, also PvP. And they didn't really change anything towards the other parts of the tree pretty much. The idea is that they have nerfed the martial prowess talent to improve the overall damage without overpowering. So they don't want you to skip more striking whenever you don't have any stacks. They want you to have stacks to do more damage, but if you don't have stacks, they still want you to deal damage with more strike if possible. In general, that's pretty much it on the talent tree. On the PvP tree, you have Berserker Roar. I already explained it with the Fury Warrior PvP video, Fury preview video. It is a good talent. It's a nerfed version of Banner, in my opinion. Although it's a 1 minute CD, it still needs to be activated with one of your defensives, which are a anti-fear or anti-incap. So you have to blow a CD to prevent CC on your team or yourself, while blowing the one CD that uses a defensive property towards those CDs. So I don't know. I think it's okay. I think it's more of a buff for Fury Warrior, which didn't have War Banner. Now they have Berserker Roar. We Arms Warrior will lose banner for Berserker Roar. It is what it is. The good thing is that it's a 1-minute CD. It also cannot be broken, so nobody can break wall banner, and you have your 1 banner gone. This is like literally 10 seconds, and that is what it is. Okay, so I can use it for you guys. For example, if I'm going to use Berserker Roar, there is no wall banner, so nobody can break it, and the next CC that is going to happen onto you will be reduced by 50%. So if someone is killing shotting you, it's going to have a very low duration, which is going to help you with surviving or to prevent your healer to be CC'd in the long run. You still have like a bleed build or a no bleed build, but it's still going to be biased to those bleeds. I think Champion Spear is not that much worth, except if you're doing like the biggest crits ever, and even then you have a lot of abilities that can prevent crits, so you don't want to really play around that as well. I think in PvE it's maybe different. I think again Mythic Plus or raiding you might play another build, but right now this is the build I would be playing PvP with. There is animation change. You have your Colossus Smash. I think it's quite silly that those swords don't have the timing of you jumping and crashing onto an enemy. It should be at the same time. You crash and the swords are also crashing at the same time. I think that's maybe a mistake from them. Maybe they need to change it, or maybe they are not going to change it. But I think it's not smooth enough for me. What else? Also Warbreaker, pretty much like every single mob you're going to hit gets those swords animation, but again it's delayed, so I don't really like it. I prefer them to have no delay and just do it whenever you're going to crash onto the enemy. It feels a bit weird. Hero talents, nothing really changed. I think there is like still the choice between Demolish, which is a very immobile spell to use, or Slayer, which is the mobility portion of the hero talents, I would say. Right now, I think Slayer is still going to be meta over Demolish. Colossus, because it's way too slow. People can just literally just walk away from it. I don't really enjoy it too much. Whenever that happens, I enjoy it whenever someone doesn't move. But again, you're especially in PvP, you're not going to hit people that are not moving, so it's not that interesting. Overall, the damage, how does it feel? Well, I mean, I cannot really judge 100% how the damage is, because it's tough. You need like literally some parses, you need like sims, but if you're popping every single CD, you can do a lot of damage. Now the a lot of damage is comparable to season 2 damage, so if I compare to season 1, like that's times 2 of the damage you're going to do. But I think in general Arms Warrior is still in need into some tuning if you're thinking about PvE. In PvP, again, the damage is not everything. Not every single story is written about PvP and damage only. It's also about the CC, about preventing the CC, about the utility, about everything combined. But I think right now, if I would ask a change, it is to make Slam maybe a bit more interesting. Right now, Slam does so no damage, even on a dummy. It is like pure physical. Maybe if Slam was like something that ignored armor, maybe it would be interesting. But right now it is not the case. So yeah, the damage is lower than Fury, as you may see if you have seen the Fury Warrior video. This is definitely lower. You have your execute doing 2.8 million, which is quite nice, but it feels slower to play. Overpower is doing 2.1 million, More Strike doing 3.3 million, your Slayer Strikes doing 1.4 million. You see the numbers are kind of crazy, and they need just to squish it down. I hope they do it for midnight, because if they're not doing it, then I don't know when they're going to do it. But like critting for 3 millions, for 4 millions, it kind of makes for silly numbers in my opinion. I think Arms Warrior is still going to be a good spec to play in PvP. It's not going to be a fantastic spec. From my understanding on how they deal damage, it's still going to be the same old Arms Warrior. The one thing that they did change also in the PvP tree is that Sharpened Blade is now just a passive. So if you're going to use Colossus Smash, for example, I want to use Avatar Colossus Smash, boom, I have Sharpened Blade, and my next More Strike is going to do more damage and put a bleed effect, MS effect that is going to be more important, which is 50%. While if you didn't have it, it will be 25%. So yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting for sure. Do you need a weak aura for the overpower winning streak? I don't think so. It's still very dumbed down. Everyone has the same effect. I think it's way cooler on certain other classes. For example, in Shaman, they get doom wins for 4 seconds. So I think it really depends class per class, spec per spec. I think the Fury Warrior one and the Arms Warrior one is quite boring, but it works. So it's always going to be taken as a good tier set because it actually gives you a DPS increase and a substantial DPS increase. Anyways, let's talk about the tier set really quickly. I already showed it on the Fury Warrior video, so if you have already seen it, you can skip this part. The PvP one is very beautiful. It's a purple one. Every single PvP one is a purple one, by the way. If I take, for example, the mage one, it is purple. Okay, so every single set from PvP is going to be purple. The mythic one is very beautiful as well, but you have to grind mythic rating, which is not easy. You have heroic one, which is really just like a basic tier set pretty much. The normal one as well looks like really a basic tier set. And the raid fighter one is probably even better than the normal one in my opinion. And the gladiator one is, yeah, it's okay. I guess the greenish color, since green is my favorite color, it kind of helps. But I don't think it's like a very cool. I think the one that is cool is the elite one. So that's pretty much it. Again, thank you for watching this video. Really appreciate you. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. And we will catch each other probably very soon in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.